Hi, my name is Lisa, and in this video I'll be talking about my experiences in the American education system and the European one. And I will explain my reasons of deciding to leave the American college and dropping out and moving back to the European system. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like and of course subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. So let's get into it. Is college worth the money? It's a question that has been asked many times recently, and especially during the pandemic, because more and more students were paying a lot of money to just sit at home and watch some lectures online. However, in 2019, I was not really aware of this questioning of is college worth it, so I decided to go to college and moved from the Netherlands to the US to start my education there. To only come back 6 months later without finishing my first semester. So my experience in the US was very short, but it was long enough to form my opinion about it and to talk about it in this video. So the next part of this video will be all about the reasons I left the US and dropped out of the college in the US and moved back to Europe and decided that my money was more worth putting into the education system in Europe than in the US. My very first class that I took in the US was English 101, a course you had to take. You're obliged to. And here my first doubts about the education system came around already. So we all had to write papers, essays, and I was the only non-native speaker. So I guessed it would be a tough course because my English is okay, but not as good as native speakers. But it was completely different. I got all A's and A pluses or whatever the grading system is there. I still don't really get it. And my other classmates got B's and even C's. So I was so surprised by the fact that I would get better grades. And also the things we were learning there, we were basically learning nothing. The only thing was you got these tasks and essays you had to write, and we'd write them and we would get some comments on them. But it was more like maybe I would do it when I was like in the second year of high school. I would do this kind of classes in which I would just write and get some comments. So it felt a bit weird to do it, but on the other hand I was like, okay, this is English 101, a summer course, so it might be normal. And just to give some context, I was doing the summer classes because I was playing soccer on a scholarship there. So that's why I was taking some summer classes while I was preparing for the season. So this started some concerns, but the next experience I had raised even more concerns. This next experience came rather quickly. It was actually at the start of the first semester. I got into a math class for sophomores, since my test to get in was pretty good when it comes to math. And I was also a math and computer science major, so that was why I was taking math. But I was sitting in between these sophomores, they were all a year older, and the first class began. I was like, okay, this is probably some sort of recap, I already know this. And then the second class, and it was still a recap, and then the third class was still a recap. And in the end, I realized that I wasn't going to learn anything new, because I basically already did all of it, all the subject matter we were doing in that class. And then we had a midterm. We had 90 minutes to finish that test. I finished it in 15-20 minutes, didn't make any mistakes, while my classmates were fighting till the end. So I still felt this imbalance in my level of mathematics and thinking compared to the others, while I was already in a sophomore class as a freshman. And this really started to raise some concerns about what I was doing there and what I was actually learning. Then I want to talk about this thing in the US where you have to follow certain classes that aren't in your major, the core curriculum. And I know this differs per college, but I still think it's worth talking about because it was one of the reasons I left it, because my college had this core curriculum. For me, it felt like half of my time or even more I was putting in these extra classes that I thought were interesting, but not to put in so much time. I started studying because I wanted to specialize in math and computer science, not because I also wanted to do philosophy, theology, history, and a language or something creative. That was not why I came to college. I came to college to learn about things that I wanted to learn. And I think it's good to broaden your horizon, but not to the extreme sense. And that really made me realize how much I would be behind on my classmates from high school who were now studying in the Netherlands and had been specializing for weeks already in math, probably learning a lot more and being a lot farther into the development than I was. Then the tuition. And this honestly was the craziest part of the whole experience. I luckily didn't have to pay in the US because I was on a scholarship. But if I saw how huge my scholarship bill was, it was crazy. It was around $60,000. And that was, of course, with food, my bed, and my room, but also my tuition itself. But just to give you a comparison, here in the Netherlands, I think, let me see the numbers. I pay around 8,000 euros a year for everything. For my room, my tuition, my food, $8,000 euros compared to $60,000. And then when it comes to investing, I think your money is worth a lot more if you invest in European university and European education, because I think even though your American college costs more, give way less return compared to the European college. And even if you compare it, American education can never be that much better than European university. Like 8,000 compared to 60,000, that's a huge gap. So to me, that was the craziest to think about, how in the US they ask so much money for education and they barely even provide enough value for that money, in my opinion. So should you go to college? Is college worth your money? In my opinion, going to a standard American college or university is definitely not worth your money. It's so expensive and you just don't get enough in return. It's better to probably start building your own business then. And now I get the movement. But I think in Europe it's still worth it. And of course, if you want to be a lawyer or go into medicine and be a doctor, then of course you need to go to medical school and law school. There's no way around it. But if you're just doing, for instance, I'm doing engineering, then I would say learn it online and start your own business if you're in the US. Or you have to find a really good engineering school maybe. But to me, the US experience wasn't worth the money, so that's why I went back to Europe and I'm having a great education here. I actually, in the first week, I learned as much new math, as I did in the first 6 months being in the US. So that says it all to me. But of course, it's all your own decision, so try to find out what works best for you, what's the right investment for your money, because it is an investment. You do use your money to, in the end, on the long term, get some return out of it. And good luck with making your decision if you're still deciding. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, of course, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos. And then I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.